Alright, well, let's get ready to go for a ride. Taking a cruise today on the 2006 KLR 650. I want some Dunlop D606s on the street. This is always fun. Kind of curious to see how the noise of these guys are. And the noise of those guys. Hell yeah. It's more of a audio test than anything on this thing. Just got the microphone set up on the GoPro and see where the camera's pointed at. See if you guys can actually see what I'm seeing, or if it's just a gigantic mess. But it should be fun. And yep, that is 55 and 4,000 RPMs. Gotta love it. So does not meant much for the highway. And it's got the 14 tooth front sprocket, so which I like for off-road, but definitely not the greatest for the street. Just got done putting a shiny new brake lever on this thing after I broke it after I dropped the bike last weekend. That was all kinds of fun. Got the handlebar guards now, so hopefully that doesn't happen next time I drop it, because I'm sure that'll be happening again. Actually a bit of an adventure that trip, so it's kind of fun. I kind of ran out of town a little bit when I was going down a pretty steep for me, loose rocky hill. Got away from me a little bit. I freaked out a little bit and grabbed a little bit of throttle when I was going downhill, and spent the next 5 or 10 seconds figuring out why I was accelerating instead of braking, not realizing I had a death grip on the throttle. And yeah, fortunately wasn't too bad of an oops. Went off the road a little bit, hit hard enough to bend the handlebars down a little bit. They just kind of rolled in the risers, so that wasn't too bad. No damage to the bike doing that, but when I finally got my wits about me and got the bike back, you know, kind of back pointed the right way, I'm shuffling it around, and that's when I dumped it on its side pretty hard and broke the brake lever. That was real fun. So that was kind of an interesting break if you guys ever run into something like that. The way the brake lever is made, you know, it's got a little tab that hits the brake light switch, and then when you pull the lever, it pulls away from the brake light switch to turn the brake lights on. and that's also kind of a stop, so the brake lever can't go any further forward. Well, that broke off, allowing the brake lever to go quite a bit further forward and out of my reach. So kind of a fun fix on that. So I always bring zip ties with me, zip tied to the frame of the bike. That way I can just pull them off whenever I need to, and the zip ties that are holding the zip ties on, I just zip it down another one or two to keep them tight on there, and made a little loop around the brake lever that would prevent it from going too far forward, but wouldn't put any pressure on it, so I wasn't dragging the brakes, but I could still grab the brakes, and worked perfect. I had about 20 miles to get back to camp, and worked like a dream. I didn't even notice there was anything wrong with the brake lever after that. It was great. But yeah, I got that brake lever put on today, and figure it's a good time to take the good old KLR out for a ride. This is not only my maiden voyage with the brake lever, but my maiden voyage with the GoPro. So I've got a GoPro Hero 4 Black. I just got in the mail today. I've got a little, I don't even know the name of the microphone inside the helmet. I'm really curious to see how well that picks up the sound, how much it drowns out the wind noise and the KLR noise. Just as a test here, so I've got my visor down on the helmet, and we pull the visor up. We're doing about 55 or 60. See how terrible this is. Just for a second, because I don't know if you can see all the bugs out here, but I don't really want to be eating those tonight. So thanks for joining me on the cruise tonight, and talk a little bit and see how all this stuff works out, and maybe this will actually make it up on YouTube one of these days. We'll see. Give you guys a little bit of background on me and my riding ability or lack thereof. I've been riding for about 4 years now. First bike was a Suzuki GS 500. Still have it. Thing is an absolute blast. I was actually thinking about taking it out tonight. This is a perfect road for it, but give the KLR some love and shake it down. This is the louder of the 2x4, so you can kind of see how loud this is through all the microphones and everything. But yeah, really an inexperienced rider, even after having ridden for about 4 years. Only have a couple thousand miles on the GS 500. Mostly a lot of local stuff. I don't do a whole lot of long trips. I live in the suburbs of Phoenix, Arizona. Taken up to Payson, Arizona. It's about 75 miles outside of Phoenix. Done that a couple times. There's a little town called Congress in Arizona. I took a trip up there once. That was pretty fun. Really, for the most part, it's all been in-town stuff. Just kind of putzing around. I bought the bike just as something to get out on for 20, 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour, and have some fun, let off some steam, and have a good time. It's worked out really well. And, outside of motorcycles, like everybody, I've got a ton of hobbies. Do a lot of off-roading, and a fair amount of camping. Try to get in as much camping as I can. Used to do some hiking, but I'm fat and out of shape, so that doesn't happen too much anymore. Some of my buddies that I used to hike with, still friends with, we still do a lot of four-wheeling and stuff, but they're still pretty avid hikers, and we'll go out and camp, and they'll do their hiking thing, and you know, I'll just kind of drive around, check out the area we're at, and you know, a lot of dirt roads out in the middle of nowhere. And I figure, hey, you know, they're out doing their hiking thing, dirt bike sure would be a heck of a lot of fun out in these areas. So that's part of the biggest reasons for the KLR. I actually saw this thing for sale on Craigslist and saw the knobby tires and thought, hey, it's a dirt bike. That's what I want. Price is right. Got it for under $1,000. And you know, of course, you know, you do the right thing. You do the research after you buy it, right? And I found out that no, this is really not really not the best option for a dirt bike. Really not a dirt bike at all. So, which worked out perfect for me, because I definitely wanted something street legal. You know, on the every once in a while I'm on a, you know, want to go hit the highway or go in town or something like that. Wanted something street legal, didn't have to worry about that. So KLR actually really works out perfect for what I wanted. But not quite the dirt bike that I was expecting. And with that in mind, that's one thing I was really surprised about. So you know, again, I thought I was buying a dirt bike when I bought this thing. Found out it's actually a dual sport. Found out the tires are DOT tires. So again, no, despite them being pretty aggressive tires, they're DOT legal. And first time out on the street on this thing, taking a couple corners, maybe a little bit faster than I was comfortable with. Well within what the bike can do, but well outside my comfort, or a little outside my comfort range. And they did much better than I was expecting. Really surprised with, you know, just like cornering, for example. Really no issues whatsoever. You take it at a mild pace cornering on the street, no problem at all. About as loud as I would have expected for a knobby off-road tire, but it doesn't bother me in the slightest. Talk about the KLR a little bit. This thing's a bit of a thing. So like I said, it's a 2006, has I bought it with just under 39,000 miles, got just over 39,000 on it now. Only had it for about 2 months, and it's been interesting. I bought the bike not running. Got a really good deal on it. Like I said, I got it for a little under $1,000, and picked it up in Tucson, Arizona, a couple miles south of Phoenix. Got it home, and you know, it was a little late, 9 o'clock at night, but you know, it's a new toy. Kind of excited about it. You know, let's see if we can figure this thing out real quick. So I crank her over, the thing fires right up. What the heck? So, you know, most people, oh, that's great, that's easy, you know, then, yeah, it's not, can be not the greatest of situations sometimes, buying something that doesn't run. You drive it, you know, you load it up, drive somewhere for 2 miles, bumping and bouncing around, you get home and all of a sudden it's running. Usually means there's some kind of hidden intermittent issue that you got to worry about there. Wasn't super excited about that until I actually found the problem. So, you know, first thing, that the guy that I bought it from said there was no spark, and you always take what the seller says with a grain of salt. But you know, I'll humor myself a little bit. Let's take a look at the spark plug and see what's going on there. Maybe there's some intermittent ignition problem there. And sure enough, the spark plug boot was not attached to the spark plug. It was just kind of laying up against there. So I'm sure when he had it, it was not laying next to the spark plug, and not getting any kind of electricity to the spark plug there. And with the bouncing and bumping around on the 2-hour ride home, it kind of found a happy spot and was able to get enough spark to the spark plug to run when I fired it up. So a $5 spark plug boot, and we're off to the races. Not a bad deal. I think I wound up saving about 200 bucks of the difference between a running and a non-running bike on that one. So pretty good investment there for $5. So worked out great. I bought the bike. I had a trip planned with a couple buddies he's got a buddy who's got some property outside of Ash Fork the following weekend, so it worked out perfect. I was able to take the bike up there and kind of tool around it a little bit. I know outside of just getting it running, the bike, it needed a lot of work. You know, it was just going to be put around for a couple miles, get familiar with it, expect the thing to stop working at some point, and then just trailer it home from there. I actually didn't have any mechanical issues with the bike at all there. It's actually mechanically, this thing has been flawless so far. I've been really happy with that. But all of the other stuff outside of mechanical has been a little interesting. I made a list. I really was hoping that I would have got all the camera gear and all that stuff before I really started delving into the bike, because it's been a journey. But I made a list so I could keep track of all the things that I've ran into and all the quirky weirdness that happened with the previous owner. And I'll kind of go into some of the highlights, some of the more interesting ones here. I'll probably do something a little more in depth later on, but so just to kind of start the story here, to talk about the interaction with the previous owner. The guy was a character. Good guy, great guy. And I kind of felt like I was almost taking his baby away from him. It really seemed like he enjoyed this motorcycle when he had it, but one of those people that maybe shouldn't have been doing his own work on his own motorcycles. He kept pointing out all these cool things and these things that he had done, and I'm looking at it, and it's like, dude, you pretty much just hacked this thing up. He's pointing out the rear fender that he put on. I can't remember what it came off of, but you know, took a nice stock KLR fender and put just a whatever